Housing supply trending down. Housing demand trending down. Average home prices trending down. Guys, how's it going? I'm Chris Friend, the owner of Halcyon Real Estate. We are affiliated with the Keller Williams Market Center in Salt Lake City, Utah. Today is the 29th of December. This is the last video I'll make of this kind for 2025. This is the numbers and the nuances where you come weekly in order to know exactly what Utah's housing market looks like right now at any given moment. And as I do at the beginning of every quarter and at the beginning of every year, next week, I will be giving you a wrap up of what the fourth quarter looked like and a wrap up of what the entire year of 2025 looked like in the Utah housing market. But today it's just another run of the mill. What happened in Utah's housing market last week and how does it trend across the last couple of quarters? Let's check it out. Housing supply trending down. Housing demand trending down. Average home prices trending down finally. Now, as you'll see on the graph that I'll have that always shows data from the beginning of the previous quarter to present, since we're looking at a graph that covers 2 full quarters now, you'll see that average home prices still look to be trending up. But if you look at the last third of the chart, you'll see that they've been trending down across the last couple of months. And this week was no exception. And it's not just because the homes that sold during the week of Christmas. It's not because of what happened last week. It is the cumulative effect of all the downward pressure on housing prices that we've had moving into winter. We always expect that through winter anyway, but it is just good to see that after, years, frankly, of downward pressure on the acceleration of Utah's home prices, right? We had the inflationary effect of 2020 and 2021 on home prices. 2021 saw a near 30% rise in home values in a single year. That was insane. The following year, 2022, interest rates started to come up and that curbed the level of demand we had. And that curbed the acceleration of inflation. So at the end of 2022, average home price had gone up by about 12%, then about 6% in 23. Until this year, what we saw was actually the first quarter of downward trending home prices, which occurred in the first quarter of this year. Then in the second quarter, they stagnated, went nowhere. In the third quarter, they started to trend up at about the same pace that they had trended down in the first quarter. And in the fourth quarter, they kind of stagnated and then started to trend down again. These last 2 months, average list price for homes in Utah has trended back down. So I'm happy to see it. And I will say for the 100th time that I do not anticipate, the data does not show that we should expect a waterfall drop in prices. There's not a housing crash around the corner at all, particularly not in Utah, where we have one of the best economies in the nation, but I am happy to see that downward pressure on home prices. Now, we expect this pattern every winter of home supply coming down, demand for homes coming down. Average home prices, if there's a time of year when average home prices are gonna come down, it's through the winter, okay? So we anticipate this pattern just seasonally right now, which is why I often say that winter could be the best time to buy because a buyer goes into the market at the tail end of the peak of our housing supply, because we always peak in October and then it starts to taper off. A buyer buying in winter is coming in against less competition. There's fewer buyers in the market. Homes are on the market longer, so sellers are more often willing to negotiate to the advantage of the buyer in the winter. And that's why I say what I say. This can often be the best time to buy a home, seasonally speaking. All that said, interest rates are now trending at the lowest point they've been for the entire year. That means they've trended down for the last couple of years, really. And while they still feel high, I just want you to pay attention to the interest rate chart that I show at the end of this video. Let's look at the numbers. All right, so here's where things are in the Utah housing market as of the 29th of December, 2025. Our current inventory stands at 11,178, which is down from the previous week, and it's clearly trending down. Last week, our average days on market came to 74, which is exactly what it was in the previous week. We still see it trending up though, clearly. The prior week's average list price came to 684,552. That's down significantly from the previous week. It's below 700K for the first time in 4 months, and we really haven't seen this data set spend any time, consecutive weeks in the 600K range since March, April of this year. So still trending very moderately up as we see this chart from the beginning of quarter 3, but now trending down if you look at just the previous couple of months of this chart. Now, the average sold price of homes last week came to $664,563. So the difference still between average list and average sold price comes in the buyer's favor to the tune of $19,989. And importantly, median sold price is now, as of last week, at a flat $500,000. Always good to know the median, where most people are having an experience, is significantly below average. Last week, the number of homes that sold in Utah came to 342. Turns out, fewer people want to close on their new home on the week of Christmas. Not surprising, but this is still trending down as we expect through the winter. There are currently 4,082 homes under contract in Utah. That's down from the previous week and trending down. The prior week's number of price reductions came to 288. That's down a lot from the previous week. Clear downtrend here as sellers believe there are fewer active buyers over the holidays anyways, so why drop their asking price for people who aren't looking, right? I do anticipate this to start trending back up with the new year through the remainder of winter. Last week, the number of listing contracts that were either canceled, expired, or withdrawn came to 338. That's down from the previous week, trending slightly up, and expect this number to shoot sky high next week as it will be both the beginning of a month and the beginning of a year, which will end a higher number of listing contracts. That'll be more listing contracts expired. And finally, national average interest rates for a 30-year fixed rate conventional loan comes to 6.19%. That's down from last Monday and as low as it has been all year. In fact, look at how interest rates have trended across the entirety of this year. This is essentially the soft landing that everyone has been waiting for ever since interest rates started hiking up in 2022. And I'll say this for the 100th time, I do not expect rates to go back to the 3 to 2% range. If you ever see rates that low again, you can bet that a severe inflationary period will be riding on its back. But the 5% heading into the 4% range, I'm not waiting 4% next year. But that's the direction we're going, right? And how does 5% feel on interest rates as opposed to the 8% we had a couple years ago, 7% that we had for the year before that and a lot of this year? 6% flat is almost where we are. And since that 6.19 is a national average for a 30-year conventional loan, you can bet that if you're getting an FHA and if you've got decent credit and not a high debt load currently, you'll be in the 5s if you were to lock in a rate this week. All right, and that is it for this week, guys. Thank you for watching. If this is the kind of info that you want to keep up on, you will not find a better way than to hit that subscribe and stay up on it with me weekly. If you have any questions about the way that I presented any of these numbers or information, hit me in the comments. I'm always happy to respond. And if you are looking to move here in Utah in the next 3 to 6 months, I hope you're comfortable reaching out to me. You can do it right on the comments right here. And my contact info, my email and my phone number are always in the description of the video. Feel free to reach out to me. I'm going to be happy to respond and happy to help. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye, bye-bye.